I dated a girl several years ago, but the relationship was toxic. She was aggressive and controlling. Finally, we split up, and I carried on with my life. After some time, I gained a respectable job that let me live reasonably and save some money. Then, some months after I started working, my ex contacted me. She turned up with a 5-year-old boy, claiming he was mine and demanding child support instead of first seeming like she would have wanted to reconnect. Though I was dubious, the child's age matched our split in time. I asked a buddy of mine, a lawyer, and he counseled me to handle this outside of court. On the proviso that we first conduct a DNA test, I agreed to take full responsibility, pay all bills, and live with the child. That seemed fine to everyone except my ex. She was angry, demanding I give her the money she believed she deserved. She even called my relatives, charging me of dodging responsibility. We ultimately took the DNA test after she ran out of explanations, and as it happened, I wasn't the father. Still insisting she earned the money, she was enraged and sobbed about how unfair it was. It changed nothing about the result, though. Last week, fast forward, we assembled somewhat at my people's house. I started laughing over the circumstances with my ex while talking with my brother and friend. Although some of our remarks were really negative, we were on the other side of the house, far from everyone else. At least, it is our perspective. Hearing us, my sister became furious. A few hours later, following the celebration, tensions were still high. She rushed over, shoved me against the wall, and began screaming at us for being rude and ridiculing a poor woman. The worst thing about it is, though she knows the child isn't mine, my mom is on the side of my ex, supporting her. She began accusing me of being horrible for what occurred with my ex when my sister asked me to join her and our parents in the kitchen. My ex apparently had been in touch with her, and she accepted her version of events. This was her intervention staging approach. Startled, my brother and I asked, "Are you serious?" She then asserted that I had moral responsibility to assist her and that I had somehow pushed my ex into single motherhood. My dad added that perhaps our jokes about the circumstances had been a touch harsh, but he also made it plain that I had no responsibility for the child. My mother then stunned everyone by declaring, "You should have supported her. Even if the kid isn't yours, you're making more than enough money to help." I have gotten texts since then. On my side are my dad and brother, who claim I am not accountable for her. My sister keeps pestering me, attempting to make me feel bad. "It's your decision, and I respect it," my mother remarked at last, "but I'm disappointed that you've turned out to be so selfish. I have no intention of giving my ex any. I know she does not deserve my money, but the continual guilt trips from my sister drain me." My mother knew she had been mistaken, thinking whether she had cheated on my dad and wondering if it was the reason she was leaning toward my ex appeared to pain her the most. We spoke for a long time, really sincerely. My mother said she had thought my ex was lovely and gentle, hence she had believed him. She said she found it difficult to believe me when I told her about the mistreatment I endure in the relationship, as my ex had always been so friendly to her. She concluded I was lying, as she felt a good girl like my ex could never act in such a manner. She then apologizes. "We are all right now." Regarding my sister, first, she avoided talking to me until I took responsibility. But even after I showed her all the proof, some days when I speak with my sister she is completely on my ex's side. She keeps insisting none of it matters since, in her opinion, a woman's word should always come first, and that is all the evidence anyone need. She also says I have a moral responsibility to assist my ex and her child even if I'm not the biological father. She says have to man up and start acting like a genuine man by owning them. She clearly is a lost cause when it comes to seeing reason. Regarding my ex, I looked into it and discovered she began seeing another man soon after our split. Though I'm not sure, she might have been seeing him already when we were together. A few weeks later, they broke up. She continued to date several others until she became pregnant. She has also been attempting to assign the father role to someone else for the past 2 years. On her list, I suppose the first came next. She has been more pushy with me than with anyone else before, hence I believe she is becoming desperate. Now, my sister and ex showed up at my place of employment a few days ago carrying a big sign with my face and the words, "He abandoned his child, an irresponsible father," They created a major scene trying to shame me and apply social pressure to compel me to take care of a child, not mine. They even acknowledged this as their intended strategy. Security finally walked them out, but the incident landed me in hot heated. I was cautioned that if something like this occurs once again, I might lose my job even after showing all the documentation and legal records demonstrating they were lying. I then got in touch with a friend of a lawyer, and we are currently working on a somewhat thorough legal case against my sister as well as my ex. They have gone beyond what is reasonable. I am not holding back. I hope this will frighten them sufficiently to at last leave me alone. The last few weeks have been turbulent. First, I won't go into great detail about the case, but I can tell that my ex freaked out absolutely when she learned about it. Now imploring me to drop the case, she offers to retract anything she says and promises not to harass or get in touch with me once more. She's even making efforts, saying that by continuing the litigation I'm destroying her and her son's life. My ex has been trying to guilt trip me. Actually, though, I no longer give a damn. Long ago, I became bored with being the good guy. She messed with me, and right now I'm redating. Regarding my sister, the litigation worsened her situation only. Her attempt to humiliate me, my workplace didn't go as planned, so she turned to social media and began disseminating false information about abandoning her child and refusing to take responsibility. She even started painting my legal measures censorship, hoping to garner sympathy. Ultimately, though, this will work against her. Not only can I quickly refute her slander, but her behavior is providing further proof for my case. We are only getting started. This will be a long road. At my parents' house recently, we had a picnic. We have this every year as a justification for a large family gathering before Christmas. Though some relatives promised me she wouldn't be there, I was reluctant to go as I wanted to avoid my sister. Significant error. She was present. My mother wanted us all to gather and solve this as a family, even though all that had transpired. She believed I was going too far and wanted me to go right away, but several relatives tried to stop me. Starting to cry, my mother begged me to stop, saying I was separating the family and I had to learn to forgive and move on. At that point I understood she was still supporting my sister even though she knew the truth. I departed telling her she shouldn't ever pull something like this once again and that I wouldn't be attending any more family functions should my sister be present. Most in my family know what occurred by now. While some believe my sister is insane, some believe she's out of her mind. Hence I am overreacting. My mother invited me to Christmas with her a few days ago. After what had transpired, I was hesitant, but I gave her a chance and she swore nothing like that will return. But my brother cautioned me that this time, she meant to trap me at the house until I abandoned the lawsuit and forgive my sister. I informed my mother I understood what she was intending and that I was done with her and my sister. I advised her not to get in touch until she was ready to apologize and recognized she had backed the wrong person. She has been phoning non-stop since then, attempting to generate more drama after I skipped Christmas. But I'm done playing the good guy, so for now that's it. I hope your Christmas was great and wish you a wonderful, drama-free new year. Now, we are 1 year later. It would be good to tell you over the past year, a lot of things have evolved. To keep it short, first of all the lawsuit, I won. We hardly made it to a trial since everything was settled in conciliation talks. From harassment and slander to the attempts to compromise my employment and even parental fraud, my lawyer's approach was to load on every conceivable accusation we could think of. The intention was to scare them. Should that fail, my sister and my ex would be subject to additional accusations. My sister kept calling it a hoax and kept spreading lies about me on social media. She regrets it now, though, since every single thing she posted returned to torment her when it was used against her. Conversely, my ex understood she was in over her head right away. She asked for my pardon, took back all she said, and agreed an out-of-court settlement to cover the losses. She left my sister at last to handle the fallout from a dispute she had started. My sister fled when she understood the gravity of the matter and she was now fighting alone. She erased every single post she had created, trying to present none of which had ever happened. But by that time, we had all the screenshots, backups, and recordings we needed. She started crying at the last conciliation meeting, imploring me to pardon her and stop from proceeding. To be honest, though, she did this on herself. She had several opportunities to stop, but she persisted. Finally, she had to pay for her actions. She paid me a sizable damage fee, as well as covering all the legal expenses. My mother assisted her with the payment. Today she owes my parents a significant amount, and my dad is certain she should pay them back gradually. My sister rebelled against me for what happened for a few months, but finally, we spoke and we are back on better terms. Though it still suffers, our relationship is healing. She admitted that initially she really felt she was protecting a poor woman in need, that she was fighting for a good cause, and that she was acting morally and would thus come out on top. Her friends pushed her to keep fighting and to challenge me. Fighting in the name of other women, my sister really felt she was doing her responsibilities. She stayed with such concepts until reality arrived and came to see she had little chance of success. By then, all of her friends backing left. My ex dropped her, and all the girls who had urged her just wished her luck and went. Left with no other option, she turned around at last. With my sister and my ex, that is how things turned out. For those who pondered, no, my sister and my ex were not in a relationship. I honestly do not know where my ex is right now. She paid her debts and vanished. I wish I never to see her again. Some have told me I went too far. Some have even called me a monster for wrecking the life of a single mother already under hardship. Others have attacked me for not honoring my family and for raising the matter this far instead of addressing it inside the family. I do not care anymore at this point. Regarding my mother, she consistently sided with my sister during the conciliational months. From begging me to let it go to trying to guilt me with any excuse she could come up with, she tried to get me to quit everything. Saying she wouldn't view me as her son anymore and would cut me off from the family. She even threatened to disown me at one point. She ultimately did not follow through, but she still has resentment. Once everything was over, I continued wondering why she behaved this way, why she regularly sided with everyone else against me. After consulting several people, I at last decided to get a DNA test. My brother and dad thought it was odd how my mom had been acting after talking about it with them. Particularly my dad began to have questions, particularly in light of some of what my mother stated and hinted at. Over time, his doubts got stronger. Following a few beers, a difficult chat, and some tears, my dad assured us he would always be our father regardless of the DNA results. We therefore proceeded to take the test. I am his biological son, as is my sibling. Though he felt somewhat ashamed for questioning my mother's allegiance, my dad was also immensely relieved. He felt so guilty that we all came to her apologizing for challenging her faithfulness. We gathered at my dad's house one evening to go over everything. Sitting around the table, I started by noting all the strife and stress over the preceding few months. I said I was sorry. She is my mother after all. Her actions, nevertheless, made us all wonder about her allegiance and goals. I also mentioned the DNA test as something to try. My mom's cheeks flushed with fury the moment I uttered it. She shot out from her chair, and before I knew it she was tugging my hair and scratching me. Her screams, "Why did you do this? I hate you. You had no right." My parents and brother hurried her away from me. She started begging my dad for pardon right away. Startled and enraged, my dad told her that I had been ready to apologize since the DNA tests showed my brother and I were his biological kids. Her expression combined desperation with terror, and in that instant her response revealed all. My dad was so enraged, never seen before. She admitted that she had a protracted affair years ago and that she wasn't sure whether I was her dad's child or her lover's when she got pregnant with me. She said she let him finish within her several times, and they seldom ever wore protection. She had been living with the mystery, my actual father, all these years, meant to carry the secret to her tomb. Now, though, the truth had surfaced and everything immediately made sense. She had thus always behaved the way she did. Why then does she constantly side with everyone else instead of me? My dad threw her out the house that evening. Word immediately got throughout the family, and we cautioned everyone in case she tried to spin the tale. She contacted us, enraged over that, stating we shouldn't speak about our mother since she is our mother and we have no right to tell anybody anything. Regarding the fallout, to sum all this craziness, the lawsuit has brought me some decent money. While my relationship with my sister it is broken, it is recovering. My brother is still my best buddy. She has cut off herself from her controlling, poisonous companions. My ex is no more. Perhaps, this time she is gone permanently. My mom's treachery hurts my dad greatly. Even though they aren't divorcing, he hasn't forgiven her and claims he never will. He informed her he doesn't want to go through the trouble of a divorce or forfeit all he worked for. We're married, but we're not a couple, he said. Now she's trying to get his forgiveness, but it's obvious he's emotionally checked out. Regarding my mother, she freely hates me right now. She says, if you had just done what I told you and taken responsibility for the kid, none of this would have happened. I hope you're happy now, but really, I don't care anymore. She blames me for all her troubles. I will keep attempting to create the life separate from this craziness, saving, and working. I'll most likely shut off communication with my mother, and right now I'm good with it.